Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Bill. Her real name was Lillian Virginia Ross, but nobody ever called her that except her grandmothers for whom she was named, not even her mama and papa. She was a shy, sweet, happy little girl, as anybody could tell from looking at her. When she was real little, she didn't know any better, so she seldom said. But as you can tell from her pictures, as soon as she was able to get around, now remember this phrase, she developed into a sweet, even-tempered child who was a joy to everyone, including her mama and papa. She was also very shy and turned her back on the camera when her mama took her picture. And we can see that one. That's the last picture up there in the first frame. She turned her face around. After a while, Bill kept on growing and getting bigger. She also learned to outgrow her shyness. Not that she didn't stay a sweet, even-tempered little girl. She was a joy to everybody, but she realized that one day she would have to meet little boys and perhaps grow up and marry one. And who, she reasoned, would want to marry a shy child, no matter how sweet and even-tempered. So she learned to play and went on camping trips. She even got over being shy to such an extent that she was often in plays at school. She was Robin Hood and Valentine. You can see in the second frame where she's dressed as Robin Hood and then in her beautiful dress as a little Valentine. Come on in. You're welcome. Come on in.
Well, no, I was going.
Okay. Little Bill continued to grow and lose some of her teeth, which was probably the most noticeable change in her appearance. For never once did she waver from being a sweet, even-tempered child. Wonder who wrote this part. She also changed her hairstyle. She would cut it off, and then it would grow again. She did this often, probably to show that she could. Then as she grew older, she put on high heels and plucked her eyebrows, as was the fashion. Finally, she was grown as tall as she would get. She went to high school and wore lipstick and even went to college. But while away at college from her parents, no pictures were taken of her, as was becoming the sweet, even-tempered child she was, for she didn't want any pictures left to remind her of those times when she was away from her mama and papa. When she was graduated from college with a school ring, she went to work, seeking her fortune in her own hometown and its business world. Seeking her fortune in the business world, little Bill often dreamed of the handsome young man who someday would find her working away in a business office and carry her off to be his sweetheart forever. She changed her hairstyle and even wore curls once. But no Prince Charming came to win her heart. She even went to a masquerade ball and was Mae West. But that didn't help, so she continued to work and dream. The only change was that she let her eyebrows grow out, as was now the fashion, and she did add a little weight, but just a teeny bit. Then one day, she met a boy and went on a picnic. But that, dears, is another story. Here's our second installment. Once there was a little boy whose name was Clyde. His full name was Clyde Edward Gray, but no one ever called him that except his mama, and she didn't unless she was mad. Clyde had a little brother named Curtis. Clyde and Curtis are in the second row of pictures, and you'll see most of those pictures from their early years, they're together. Clyde and Curtis together. They lived very happily in Houston and often went to Galveston to play on the beach. Then they moved to Oklahoma and Arkansas. Both of the little boys were very good, and Clyde was especially big and wise. They helped their daddy with the dishes and rode on play trains, and they were happy. And as anybody can see, always together. Come right in. Clyde and Curtis got bigger, as boys often do. And still Curtis kept on smiling and being cheerful, and Clyde kept on being himself. Finally, Clyde got into high school, and then he thought he was big enough to have his picture taken by himself. So he did. Then Clyde kept on getting bigger and bigger, and one day he grew a mustache. He felt then that he was able to go out into the world and seek his fortune. Finally, he did so well that he got to visit the house of David, where everyone wears beards. Clyde was allowed to visit because he had a mustache, but they wouldn't let him stay for that very same reason. Yet all the time, Clyde felt something was missing from his life. What could it be? Clyde came home one time, just in time to get in on a family picture. Mama and Daddy Gray, Clyde and Curtis. He still knew something was missing, even though he had a very successful business. He was successfully seeking his fortune, but he knew, wise and good as he was, that life held more. What was making him restless when the world was at his feet, he wondered. After a while, he felt the Al Capone influence. And as it was in style in Chicago, he started to dress in that style. He wore pearl gray spats, a hat that hung over his face, and a muffler. He also wore a suit and a coat and shoes. Oh yes, and he wore his mustache. But because he was a good and wise boy and loved to see his mom and papa, he came often to see them. And suddenly he knew what was missing in his life. It was the love of a good, pure woman. After living in Chicago for a time, Clyde decided to make an important change. He decided to go somewhere else to seek his fortune and the love of a good, pure woman. He decided to go south, where the weather was warmer and he wouldn't need his spats. So he got out his short-sleeved, open-throat shirts and came south seeking his fortune. But then, Clyde got into bad company. Clyde went to sea. He learned to drink, and life was very drab and unpleasant. He longed for a good, pure woman to love, and in turn to love him. What could he do? In desperation, he flung himself into his work and returned to his first calling, art. Then one day, he met a girl and went on a picnic. But what happens after that is another story, my dears. The third installation. Once upon a time, a very, very handsome young man and a very lovely young girl went on a picnic. Now, picnics are innocent enough. And with such a handsome, wise young man and such a sweet, even-tempered young girl, what could happen? Something did. They fell in love. Yes, the sun shone on his curly dark hair and reflected back from his big blue eyes. It sparkled in her gay brown eyes. They were happy. Then they had pictures made after they came off the picnic and came to the conclusion that they better get married. They found a love nest of an apartment and decided that life was rosy. So they got married. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy handsome man. Oh, happy sweet, even-tempered girl. Never did the sun shine more brightly or champagne flow more freely. Yes, they were married and drove away on their honeymoon. Oh, happy, happy honeymoon. Oh, happy, happy couple on their honeymoon. Oh, happy, happy Mama's car. Gay, laughing, blushing, in love with the world and in love with each other. No cloud could darken their happiness. Nothing could mar the beauty of their bliss. Wedded bliss was never like theirs, for this handsome, wise young man continued to stay handsome and wise, and this sweet, even-tempered young girl continued to stay sweet and even-tempered. They grew older, of course, and yes, we will admit, they added just the tiniest smidgen of weight. Hardly enough to even show, but just enough to reveal that they were happy and contented. They never fought or quarreled, because that sweet, even-tempered girl was so sweet and even-tempered, and that wise, handsome young man was so wise and handsome. They went on vacations and enjoyed them, and he even took her on business trips. And now, my dears, we've reached the end of the story. But of course, you've guessed the surprise ending we have in store for you. Where else could you find such a handsome, wise man? And are there two such sweet, even-tempered girls in the world? Of course not. And here, my dears, are our hero and heroine, Clyde and Bill. This is their love story in their words. Isn't that sweet?